A filibuster by the main opposition People Power Party that's currently taking place at the National Assembly is expected to end soon. This will clear the way for the passage of the contentious bill aimed at eradicating false and manipulated information, proposed by the ruling Democratic Party. South Korean authorities addressed concerns over the weakening Korean won against the dollar, saying a series of related meetings have taken place and that the market will soon be able to see the government's commitment to stabilizing the foreign exchange market. The U.S. economy grew more than expected in the third quarter, led by strong consumer spending and a rise in exports. U.S. President Donald Trump touted his economic policies, saying tariffs are the reason for the strong growth. Hello and welcome to our noon edition of Arirang News on this Christmas Eve. We begin today at the National Assembly, where a filibuster by the People Power Party is expected to end soon, paving the way for the ruling Democratic Party's bill on punitive damages for false information to be passed. Our Kim Bo-kyung starts us off.
The ruling Democratic Party placed on Tuesday's plenary session agenda what's been dubbed the Anti-False and Manipulated Information Bill. The core of the bill is to prohibit the distribution of false or manipulated information that infringes on others' personal and property rights or the public interest, with the intent to cause harm or gain unjust benefits. It includes a clause to impose punitive damages of up to 5 times the victim's losses on those who intentionally spread false or manipulated information. This prompted a filibuster from the People Power Party.
They are trying to silence the people in the name of the law and the system. This is not a law to protect victims, but a law intended to block free public opinion and suppress criticism of the government.
Around noon on Wednesday, the filibuster is expected to be forcibly ended through a vote, after which the bill is expected to be passed. This comes after the ruling Democratic Party unilaterally passed a bill on Tuesday to set up a special tribunal to handle insurrection cases stemming from former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law declaration.
I hereby declare that the amendment to the Special Act on the establishment of a special martial law tribunal and the protection of whistleblowers regarding the martial law bid by Yoon Suk-yeol has been passed.
Lawmakers voted 175 for and 2 against, with 2 abstentions, as the People Power Party boycotted the vote. The bill calls for establishing at least 2 special tribunals, each at the Seoul Central District Court and the Seoul High Court, to handle cases of alleged insurrection, treason, and rebellion. The bill mandates that the panel's judges are to be chosen through the judiciary's internal procedures, after the earlier version of the bill caused criticism of outside influence regarding the choosing of the judges. Accusing the DP of trying to take control over the judiciary, the lawmakers of the PPP had staged a filibuster to block the bill, with the party's leader Jang Dong-hyuk setting a new record for the longest filibuster speech, speaking for 24 hours. A filibuster can be stopped after 24 hours if at least 3/5 of all lawmakers or 180 members consent to it. With the ruling bloc currently holding more than 190 seats, it ended the filibuster at 11:38 a.m. on Tuesday and put the bill up for a vote. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
South Korea's foreign exchange rate authorities said action will be taken to stabilize the country's FX market. The Ministry of the Economy and Finance and the Bank of Korea said in a joint release this morning that a weak Korean won is not desirable, and the government's commitment to addressing the issue would soon be seen. The ministry also announced tax measures to counter the recent weakness of the won against major currencies. Following the announcement, $1 briefly traded at 1,461, down more than 23 won since Tuesday's close. The exchange rate closed above 1,481 for consecutive days on Monday and Tuesday for the first time since March 2009. Meanwhile, the Korean government has decided to extend fuel tax cuts for 2 more months in an effort to stabilize fuel prices amid a recent surge in petroleum prices, led by the weakening Korean won. The cuts reduce gasoline taxes by 7% and diesel and liquefied petroleum gas by 10%. The government announced that the measure will be extended to the end of February next year, saying it's expected to keep prices down by 57 Korean won per liter for gasoline, 58 won for diesel, and 21 for LPG. Meanwhile, tax cuts on individual car purchases have also been extended by 6 months as part of efforts to support a vehicle sales recovery. The tax rate, originally set at 5%, has been lowered to 3.5%. The measure was set to expire at the end of this year, but has been extended through June 30th next year. And the combined shared value held by South Korea's top 100 stockholders surged by nearly $54 billion over the past year to reach about $136 billion at the end of 2025. According to data released Thursday by corporate research firm CEO Score, the total value of shares owned by the top 100 shareholders rose nearly 65% from a year earlier. Topping the list was Lee Jae-yong, chairman of Samsung Electronics, whose personal stock holdings jumped by roughly $8.7 billion in 1 year. Lee's total share value climbed from about $9.3 billion at the end of 2024 to nearly $18 billion this month, driven by sharp gains in Samsung Electronics, Samsung C&T, and Samsung Life Insurance shares. Over in the United States, the country's economy in the third quarter grew at its fastest pace in 2 years, driven by strong consumer spending and a sharp rebound in exports. U.S. President Donald Trump credited the rise to his tariff policies. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
According to an initial estimate released by the U.S. Commerce Department's Bureau of Economic Analysis on Wednesday, the U.S. economy expanded at a 4.3% annualized rate in the third quarter, its fastest pace since the third quarter of 2023. The growth rate significantly exceeded market expectations, as economists polled by Reuters had forecasted GDP growth of 3.3%. The stronger-than-expected performance was driven largely by resilient consumer spending. Household consumption rose at its fastest pace in nearly a year, as Americans spent more on recreational goods, vehicles, and international travel, underscoring continued demand despite elevated living costs. Exports also rebounded sharply, providing another major boost to economic growth. Business investment remained solid, with companies continuing to invest in equipment and artificial intelligence, reflecting confidence in long-term productivity gains. Government spending, particularly on defense, also contributed positively to GDP. Following the GDP report, U.S. President Donald Trump issued a public message linking the stronger growth figures to his trade policies. In a post on Truth Social, Trump stated that tariffs were responsible for what he described as great U.S. economic numbers, adding that the economy would continue to improve further. He also claimed inflation was absent and cited strong national security. Financial markets also responded positively to the economic data. U.S. stocks advanced, with the S&P 500 closing at a record high as investors reacted to the stronger growth outlook.
And so we see pretty much all the indices today being up on positive news, and the expectation that the economy is stronger than we're giving it credit for in the market at this point.
Economists say easing policy uncertainty, the impact of tax cuts, and recent monetary easing are expected to support stronger U.S. economic growth in 2026. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
President Lee Jae-myung held his first weekly cabinet meeting in Busan on Tuesday, presenting his administration's vision for the city's future. The meeting coincided with the opening of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries relocated office in Busan. Our presidential office correspondent Song Yu-jin has the details.
From the center of South Korea's ocean economy to an economic, industrial, and logistics hub for Northeast Asia, That's the vision President Lee Jae-myung has laid out for the southern port city of Busan as he presided over a cabinet meeting in the city for the first time on Tuesday.
항만시설 확충, 고부가가치 서비스 제공, 지역산업 성장 지원을 통해 부산과 동남권을 북극 항로 시대를 선도하는 주인공으로 만들겠습니다.
At the core of the plan is the development of the Arctic shipping route. Linking Asia and Europe through the Arctic Ocean, the route is expected to cut sailing distances and transit times by roughly 30% compared to the current route via the Suez Canal. The administration aims to transform Busan Port, which combines the north and new ports and ranks 7th globally in container traffic, into a key gateway for the route. To support the initiative, the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries plans to build the Jinhae New Port, a next-generation megaport in neighboring Taiwan City, where preliminary construction began this summer.
To secure a competitive edge over rival ports, we must rapidly expand port infrastructure on a global scale. By 2040, we will develop 15 container berths at the Jinhae New Port. We will also accelerate cooperation with the UAE on a physical AI-based smart port project and apply it directly to the port.
The Oceans Ministry also plans to establish large-scale ship repair and shipbuilding facilities in Busan to meet rising demand for icebreakers, ice-class vessels, and U.S. naval ship maintenance. And to ensure smooth implementation, the ministry, the project's control tower, has officially relocated to Busan.
우리 정부 출범 후에 첫 국무회의에서 제가 해수부를 연내 부산 이전을 하자라고 말씀드렸는데 국민들께 그리고 부산 시민들께 그 약속을 지키게 됐습니다.
The ministry's temporary headquarters in Busan opened on the same day. 송유진, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, South Korea has hosted a record number of foreign travelers so far this year, and a special event at Incheon International Airport sought to celebrate this milestone. Our Kim Do-yeon has this report.
Charmaine Lee, a Singaporean national, walks through the gate at Incheon Airport and is surprised by an overwhelming greeting. This is because she just became 18,500,000th visitor to South Korea this year. This is the first time the nation has seen such a number. But for Charmaine, this isn't her first time in Korea.
So I kind of visit Korea once a year, so probably more than 10 right now.
This event came on Tuesday morning as according to the tourism ministry, the nation is expected to welcome even more foreign visitors this year, exceeding 18.7 million. The last record was set in 2019 prior to the COVID-19 pandemic at 17.5 million. But with COVID hitting the world in 2020, numbers fell and started picking up again until this peak this year.
With the global rise of popularity for K-culture, for many tourists, South Korea became a country to visit right now instead of a country to visit in the future.
The Vice Minister also attributed the strategic use of K-culture, global marketing, and market diversification. Especially with KPop Demon Hunters, the government believes the numbers have gone up, but also the way Korea is toured has changed.
It shows in the numbers that K-pop Demon Hunters affect the nation's tourism. It also affects the quality of tourism. Before, it was more focused on duty-free spending, but now visitors focus on enjoying Korean culture here.
As for specific nationalities, China topped the list. Arrivals from China saw a sharp rise in July and August, driven by women in their 20s to 40s. Visitors from Taiwan increased by 27% on year, setting a new record for that market, while Japanese tourist numbers reached 3.61 million, the highest figure since 2012. Long-haul markets also showed strength, with visitors from the Americas and Oceania growing 14% following the expansion of flight routes. The Vice Minister also added that next year's goal is 20 million and 30 million by 2030. He also said there is a long way to go as most tourism is done in the capital region and the return rate is relatively low. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
This is the world now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. The U.S. Justice Department has released new documents on the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, which revealed that President Donald Trump flew on Epstein's private jet more frequently than previously reported. Nearly 30,000 pages of documents were released on Monday in the largest document drop yet. They include an email from a federal prosecutor which confirms Trump took at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including one where only he and Epstein were listed as passengers. The Justice Department on Tuesday warned the release includes untrue and sensationalist claims and said a letter claiming to be from Epstein to Larry Nassar was confirmed as fake by the FBI. The White House dismissed the release as a political distraction filled with unfounded claims. A private jet carrying Libya's military chief and 4 top officers crashed on Tuesday, killing everyone on board. General Muhammad Ali Ahmad al-Haddad died alongside the head of ground forces and 3 other senior staff members. Turkish authorities lost contact with the Falcon 50 jet 40 minutes after takeoff from Ankara's Esenboğa airport on Tuesday night. Witnesses reported seeing an explosion light up the night sky near the village of Kesikavak. The delegation was returning from high-level defense talks in Ankara. In the U.S. on Tuesday, an explosion at a nursing home near Philadelphia collapsed a section of the building, trapping elderly residents inside. Rescue crews from across the region are currently searching the rubble for survivors at the 174-bed Silver Lake Healthcare Center in Bristol Township. Authorities said there had been injuries reported but did not confirm any fatalities. Local schools have been converted into emergency shelters. A public utility crew was already on site when the explosion occurred following reports of a gas smell. The cause of the explosion is still being investigated. Representatives of British street artist Banksy confirmed a new mural that appeared in London on Monday is the work of a reclusive artist. The image in Bayswater features 2 children in winter gear lying on the ground, with one of them pointing toward the sky. Watchers say the work is a commentary on homelessness. The Bayswater mural follows the appearance of an identical one last Friday near London's Centre Point Tower, an area known for housing crisis protests, although Banksy has not admitted to being the artist of the earlier work. Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
It was a rough morning commute with yesterday's wet weather remaining icy on the cold ground. And it is Christmas Eve today, and unlike yesterday, skies will gradually clear and temperatures will stay mild with no major cold concerns. But brace for a sharp cold snap on Christmas Day, and on Friday, we're looking at temperatures to plunge to minus 12 degrees Celsius here in the capital, and of course the wind chill will make it even colder. And this afternoon, Seoul will be getting up to 6 degrees Celsius, as well as Chuncheon, Gwangju topping out at 9 degrees. Meanwhile, tomorrow could be a white Christmas for some parts, with light snow expected along the west coast and mountainous areas of Jeju Island. Now, the Christmas holiday cold spell will gradually ease from Saturday afternoon, and early next week, rain or snow is expected in the capital region. Well, if you plan to be outdoors during the holiday season, it is important to dress warmly and manage body heat carefully.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.